What's up, guys, and welcome to this new client interview. This time I'm interviewing my client Joel. He's been getting some amazing results. He's even turned into a good friend, I can say. So I think we'll have some fun in this interview. I'll ask him a bit more about what kind of things he learned. He's going to share some value with you guys to make it as valuable as possible for you. And that's basically the structure of the call. Yeah, Joel, just take us away. Maybe you can give a short introduction, what you do, maybe where you're from. I don't know, just a short introduction.
Yeah, awesome. So my name is Joel. I'm from South Africa. I'm actually, it's my 30th birthday quite soon, in a couple of weeks' time. And Stefan and I, we did our one-on-one coaching this year from July up until the end of October. Yeah. And just to give you a quick synopsis, of the results that I got, the one thing that stuck out to me in a big way was clarity, being able to really articulate to myself goals worth working towards, ones that empower me, and then also to work backwards from that and derive first principles thinking to understand how to get there. And literally, and we'll get into the details of it, the revenue that came in after that, and the general mindset was amazing. Yeah.
Exactly, man. And that's, I think, sure, we'll go into revenue, and with client interviews like that, of course, it's important to highlight. But I think, I don't know the exact number you're at right now, but I think that's what I was thinking before we went into this interview. If I just look at you, the person you're being, and that's maybe something we'll get into in the interview, like the be, do, have model, but you're already being a 20K month entrepreneur. Maybe you're not there in revenue wise, but that's the most important part, because there are so many people that, and I uploaded a video today about this, that get to, for example, 10K once, but then their subconscious mind, their way of being doesn't get to 10K as well, and then they self-sabotage, and then they get back to all this stuff. But that's that's something for there. Maybe to go into that first principle stuff, because that's, for the people watching, a lot of things that I really try to hammer down is more based on principles instead of tactics. Tactics are very important. Well, let me just give an example, and then you can take the stage. But an example of a principle is, for example, knowing why sleep is important, right? And then from that principle comes a tactic of, for example, having an evening routine or limiting blue light or whatever. But it first starts with that principle of knowing hey, this is really important, and then you can flow from there. And if you only focus on the tactics, that's what you see mostly happening. If you look at YouTube advice and stuff like that, you don't make the real change. But yeah, maybe take us away. What are some first principles you learned? Maybe you can share with the people watching.
Yeah, sure. So one of I guess this was a seminal moment in our coaching together, was right in the beginning of the coaching, we were talking about and you gave an exercise of articulating what are the goals you want to do. It's a 90-day program. Let's talk about goals, and the exercise was don't hold back. It's think big for this. And I did that, and I had these goals of because when we started working together, just so people know, I was doing e-commerce, web design strictly, but a bunch of other general e-commerce marketing stuff on the side that brought in kind of monthly recurring revenue. Yeah. And I had these goals of scale up those accounts, start my own e-com store, thinking about doing some CRO, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. And you were well, why do you want all these goals? And I was that's a good question. And working backwards, it was trying to figure out what would be a business that I can use my breadth of skills on, that would empower me, that enable me to give me leverage and live the type of life that I want. And we've riffed on this multiple times. I'm very into health and performance and things like that. And it's if I'm spreading myself very thin across these multiple disciplines, it's how good are the results going to be, and then B, how would that type of sort of segregated mindset towards the work, how would that relate to other things in my life, sleep things and the working out and the diet and all,
Yeah.
and my creative projects outside of like just doing this type of work. So the first principles thinking was, it was about like creating this lens to look at the type of work that could kind of give me just a better context, and one that I felt more like accountable to when I looked at like, what are the goals that I'm setting, and are these actually going to enable me?
Yeah.
And that was huge. Like that for me was like the big one. Like I felt as soon as we hit that mark, the momentum of the empowering like framing of these ideas in my mind, and then like taking it down to the actual like tactical implementation in the day, where it's like, what is your daily routine look like, and then getting out of like this idea of getting obsessed with tactics, because this is what I was doing and I'm a pro at getting obsessed with tactics, like actually building like an empowering way to approach my work. And that was, it was amazing.
Yeah, amazing, man. I think you hit a good point there. It's also like when we started out, the biggest thing we always start out with is clarity. So like also for people watching, you might have like there's two ways, right? Like one, everyone has sort of like a goal. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably have some sort of goal like 10K a month, 20K a month, but really go deeper into that, right? Like what does 10K a month mean to you? How do you want to earn that? Like really go deeper into that. And then the second thing is the focus. Something we also talked about is like you can do three things, but you will probably be way better if you just focus on the one thing, get it really good, and then use your results to get it somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Amazing, man. So yeah, maybe to go a bit deeper into your background, how did you actually start with entrepreneurship, and how was like your start of entrepreneurship until we started working together? I know you did web design. We were both in the same web design program. Tell us a little bit more about how life was before.
Totally. So I had dabbled with being a freelancer prior to when the whole lockdown things happened in 2020. But I always had like another job, and I had never really given it like my full attention. Like this other job that I had was actually in like a startup business. I mean, literally at the time, I didn't actually even realize that it was within the e-com sphere, but that's what it was. And I kind of always, dude, for as long as I could remember, I was always like, yeah, I'm always gonna work for myself, like in some capacity.
Yeah.
But that never, I just don't think I ever took real ownership of what it meant to live by that. And then when when 2020 happened, COVID, then I was really like in a position of like, oh shit, like I actually have to make this work.
Yeah.
And that's when I came across some of Rob O'Rourke's YouTube stuff. And then I got into the web design thing. And because I'd had a little bit of experience with the e-com stuff, I started prospecting to do web design for some e-commerce brands. One thing led to another. I got into like, as I helped these brands build their websites, and then I helped them actually like kind of enhance their branding and their imagery and their positioning and all of that kind of stuff. It then naturally led to almost like a full service, like one-man marketing agency where I helped a number of brands go from zero to, I mean, in rands, multiple six figures per month, millions of rands per year in revenue, and then managed to close better and better deals for web design, like while I was doing the marketing stuff on the side, using some of the frameworks of the Legends program.
Yeah.
This year, like managed to close, like the beginning of the year, it was closing like a 5K project, and then it became a 10K project, and then it was like higher and higher, and I was just like, oh shit, like it's like fuck yeah, like it's working. And then naturally, from that point, I've kind of felt like I've reached an area where my expertise and like creating the development and the design around these stores. I wanted to figure out a more higher leverage service that I could offer into the marketplace. And we can get into this because this is a derivative of the clarity from our coaching, where now I'm building a CRO agency, so conversion rate optimization, to help e-commerce brands scale through better design, better customer experience, that whole thing. And it's got momentum now, and it's starting to deliver results for me and for my clients. So really stoked.
Yeah, amazing, man. Because like, of course, we talked about it. Why did you actually make the switch from going from the more web design part to now building out your agency and really making, I think the answer is building a more scalable business. But what was the reason for you to actually go away from a well-paying freelancing gig, to call it like that, to go to building out this agency?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that because of the developments of, so I pretty much only work with Shopify merchants, but it's like you look at the developments like in the web design space, and the Shopify software out of the box is getting so good that the things that are the differences between like a store that converts and a store that doesn't, okay, like your offer has to be good, the product has to be good, but then there are these nuances of like the customer journey, how they interact with the websites, how the brand positions themselves. These are kind of they're a bit more abstract concepts, but when I've rolled them out in like web design projects that I've done, like I see the results that these stores deliver like at a much higher level.
Yeah.
So then I was kind of thinking like, okay, cool, this is an area where like there's no shortage of web designers out there, but like an agency that knows how to get a store to go from, whatever, a low conversion rate, improve like their messaging, their product positioning, all that kind of stuff, and then the actual like structural and usability components of the site, it's high leverage, it's high value, and when we roll it out, like it literally turns into like more money like for the brands. So and it has quite we've got like a framework for it, so it's something that can be scalable, and it's also would be something that's quite hard to replicate because we're putting in IP into like how we design the messaging and all that stuff. So it's going to be something that will enable us to build like this boutique brand with our agency, and we want to get it to the point where brand owners are like, they'll be saying like, oh shit, like you guys worked with ground control, like how did you guys get to know them? And because like we want our services to be like that, and they will be like that good.
Yeah, amazing, man. That's fun to hear your backstory as well. One thing, maybe that's fun to share for the people watching. Why did you actually decide to join the coaching? Because maybe to paint a picture, I don't know if we've painted that already. You are very big into health and performance yourself. I think based on the like the exercise things with the VO2 max and the zone 2 running, which we've been talking about, which is a bit nerdy for the people watching. I think you know even more about me. And of course, like the program is structured into like mindset and performance because they both go hand in hand. What was the reason you actually decided like, hey, this is actually what I want to do, and this is what I want to join and get coaching from me?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it had come from this place of I'd achieved results that were just improving within my business, like as a freelancer. And I'd finally gotten to the stage where I felt like internally that I was like, I'm ready to, the value came somehow that I was like, if I invest in myself, this is where I'm going to reap the benefits. And I think it may have come across, like I was reading a lot of books about mindset, and obviously seeing the odd YouTube videos of Hormozy and people like that. And one of the things that he spoke about was how like if he was only making, $75,000 a year, what he would do is like live on an absolutely just a rudimentary kind of budget, and then spend all of the rest on learning so that he could make more than 75,000 a year. So I felt like I had the idea that investing in myself would be the way to go. And I'd had a taste of entrepreneurial success and momentum that I was like, oh yeah, like this is totally doable. And then the calls that we had leading, like or just like the messaging, the conversations that we had leading up to it, I'd kind of felt that we were on a pretty similar wavelength as how like the interests overlapped, and the philosophy around like how like improving yourself is kind of like the fundamental thing to work on.
Yeah, exactly. Because to also quote Hormozy, he says like, you either pay with your time or you pay with your money, and you can decide what that is, right? And I see it in myself. I think this year maybe I've invested over 20 or 25K just into myself, into coaching, into business programs, stuff like that. Purely just to become a better version of myself, because like especially me but that's more applied to me with coaching. If I develop myself further, and I see this with the program, with the people, if I become better, then automatically the people I coach become better. And it's such a massive difference. I still remember the first time I invested into myself, and it was such a scary thing to do. But looking back at it, it's like the best money you can ever spend. Of course, there are bad investments,
100%.
right? Like some investments won't be the right thing for you, so always do your due diligence. But investing in yourself is like the thing that's really going to change things.
100%, dude.
So maybe something about the process. So when we started working together, I still did only one-on-one coaching. So just for the people watching, now there's a program, there's still a one-on-one aspect to it, but it's a bit, it's more of a community and one-on-one aspect, whereas we just had the one-on-one aspect, and now of course you're in the community. How was it like? What kind of things did you learn? How was the process? How was the journey? Take us a bit more into maybe the lessons you've learned over the past few months.
Yeah, that's it's a big question. I think maybe one of the first lessons was about the value was about realizing that you can decide, you can choose like what you want your reality to become. And part of it, and it wasn't something that was so left in this esoteric space, because I'm sure that a lot of people who would be interested in coaching like this, like they would have done their own reading into like improvement and maybe some spirituality and things like that. And I had always like heard about these things for years. And one of the things that you helped me realize was like, you can create a vision of something that you want to like basically manifest, but then we would like break it down into literally like daily actions that you could take that will get you, but within all of that, you create like a vision of what you want to do. And then it's about like knowing that'll happen, and working towards that knowing, and then focusing on like your days. And that like for me gave me this dude, it almost was like it freed up cognitive capacity for me to think about other things and work on my business with with like the confidence that I'm like I will get there.
Exactly, because that we can go deeper into that, share some value for the people here. So usually what I do with people, what you did as well, is exactly what you say. Is like what I've seen with coaching people and just in general is that you have two types of people. People are either fully into like manifesting and vision and all of that stuff, but they sort of like lack sometimes the daily actions required to get there. And you also have people that are totally focused on like grinding, hustling, doing all the actions, but they never really think about, hey, where do I actually want to go? What is the thing that I want? And I think the thing you highlighted is the perfect way. It's like, first you create that vision, and you really ask yourself, like you take some time, maybe take an hour off, you go into the woods and you just ask yourself like, hey, if I could create anything in the world, what do I want to create? Because, and this might sound a bit spiritual, but your soul already knows what you want, right? But because we're always bombarded with TikTok, with information, with all of this stuff, we never really listen to that voice inside of us. So that's the big thing. And then the thing you talked about is knowing. I think in Think and Grow Rich, they talk about it everywhere. It's like having faith, right? Knowing that if you take these actions, you will get to your goal. And that's the other part people can do as well. It's like work back from that vision. That's what we did as well. Okay, so now you have that grand vision. I think for you it was an agency that's doing 100K a month. Okay, so what is like the goal you want to reach in the next 3 months, right? If you want to be, that's like your big goal. What is it in 3 months? I think we set the goal of 10K a month, and then work back from there. Like, hey, if I want to get to that point, what are like the 3 biggest projects I need to do in order to get to that level? And then like weekly plan it out. Like, hey, if these are my 3 biggest projects to get to that goal, what do you need to do this week? What do you need to do today? And then automatically you will go into that knowing state, because you will just know like, hey, these actions actually will bring me to my goal. And the best thing as well, if you pair it with data, which we've been talking about, then it becomes even better. If you have, for example, numbers about where if I send out 1,000 cold emails, I will get 10 appointments, I will book, I will sign 3 new clients, and I want to sign 10 new clients. Okay, so all I need to do is actually do 4,500 cold emails. That's a bit of a rant, but it's basically how you combine, on the one hand, like the manifesting, the spiritual stuff, with, on the other hand, productivity, focus, actually getting shit done. And I think that's the real key for people to achieve their dreams, right?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like I actually haven't even updated you on this, but so I think in August I got the clarity, and I set the goal of like, let's do CRO agency, like let's 10K per month within like a shortish amount of time. Last month I actually did 8K, so I'm like really close to it, and I'm just cool. Like let's set a new target. So like let's keep going, because I know I'm gonna just close down on that like really soon. Yeah, dude, and it's like it's the amazing thing with that dialogue was like it's about understanding. And it's about like unpacking all of that stuff for me, like as an individual, to be able to like have these like these like frameworks in my mind that like helps me understand like how to like set a goal, how to then think about like a daily approach to it. And that was where like I've gone through phases where I'd be like really motivated to like set goals and be diligent and stuff, and I'll just like I might fall out of it and go into like a different kind of phase. Whereas it was kind of about like this consistent like reminder of like, these are the intentions, and these are the goals, and this is why we want to do it. And that kind of just helps keep the results coming in.
Exactly, because that's also like I've worked with a lot of coaches myself as well, and like what a coach does is more like that added layer of accountability, right? Like you do something together. That's why now as well in the program we have daily accountability check-ins, we have the calls. That's actually something I also want to go deeper into with you. So maybe for the people watching, as I've said, I first did one-on-one coaching, then in August I made a program, and that's what it's at right now. Joe also joined that community, and if I'm honest, before I made the program, I had limiting beliefs about, can I actually deliver results this way? And now I see that it's even better, because you have this whole group of people who all have this shared ambitions, the same drive, the same things to go for. Can you tell us a bit more about what the community is like? What are you getting out of it? Just share anything you want to share about it.
The community it's really cool. The energy in the calls is contagious. Everyone in there is aiming up, and they're all figuring shit out, and then they're sharing their journey like as they go. And one of the great things about the calls is like you get to hear these other perspectives on maybe it's the same problems you have, maybe it's like problems that are adjacent to what you have. So it really is like this amalgamation of like knowledge that has momentum that you kind of get to be a part of. And even like within the community, like it's not even just about like the group calls where everyone's in there. I've been chatting to some of the guys in our own calls privately, just like riffing on ideas, helping each other figure some problems out. So it really has created this like ripple effect. I mean, I was even chatting to you the other day about this, where there's a guy who's thinking about joining the program, and we got on a call, and that call was like amazingly valuable. Like he's doing some really cool shit, had some amazing insights he shared with me, and likewise, hopefully. And it was just like cool. And I mean, even today I was chatting to Rob, and we were saying like, imagine what this community is going to be like in 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to just be a community of killers who are all so like amped about what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, like whether you find this all interesting and you want to book a call. But I've said it today, I made a short video explaining the program, how it works. What I said there is what I really mean is like, you need to find a community where your desired behavior is the standard behavior. Let me put my my light on. Where your desired behavior is the standard behavior. If you join a community where everyone is ambitious, everyone wants to get after their dreams, they want to work hard, they want to do all of that stuff, then automatically you will move towards it as well. You will start to have those goals as well. So whether you find this interesting or not, the biggest thing you can do for your personal development, for the money you're earning, for everything, is find those people, find that community that have that same value. Because I think for you it's the same, but at least I can share from my experience that when I was a student, and I take accountability for that because I was in that situation. But if I look at it now, is that the reason I didn't grow as much as I'd like back there is because I was surrounded with people who didn't want to be an entrepreneur, who were not ambitious, who didn't have the same goals, who were binge drinking, smoking weed all the time. And I was this way as well. So I'm not judging them. I'm not judging myself. But if I look at it now, and I would be in a community like 5 years ago of people all working on being the best version of themselves, all being an entrepreneur, starting an entrepreneur, or already doing 10K, 20K a month, that's life-changing. And especially the thing you were talking about, the one-on-one aspect to it, right? Like you can be in a group call with someone, it's fun, but I think it's really cool. You were also talking one-on-one with people, because then you really make the connection. It's a funny story. I'm going on a bit of a rant. One of my best friends right now, he's from the same place I'm in. We literally met through the internet. So he's also from the Netherlands. He's also an entrepreneur, and we were just talking through the internet. We had a super good connection with each other. So we just went on a Zoom call, and now we actually went for a double date with my girlfriend and his girlfriend like 2 weeks ago. And it's crazy, man, the things you can have. But if you look at your own life right now and you're not satisfied with the people around you, like you can change it. It's not that those people are set in stone, but you have to take action to actually change it, right? Like you have to find the new people. So yeah. Do you have anything to add, or
Dude, yeah, I mean, like the community, just the relationship building I think is the most valuable part. Like that for me has been the best takeaway, and I just know that it's going to continue compounding. And part of that is like, there's obviously a lot of people that try to market stuff with the make money online whole thing and whatever it is, and it's like, it's so different when you get into a community and then you're chatting with, like, let's say yourself or like Derek, who's pulling in like 20K plus a month, and he's like, and he's like this real person who's actually doing it, and he's like, yeah, dude, this is what I'm doing, like this is what's working, and you're like, oh shit, like, and you just totally believe like in yourself, and like it's amazing.
Yeah, man, that's actually to quote Tomoshi again, but that's what I learned from him, is like, why you need to join communities like that, why you need to join masterminds. It's not per se about the information. Like, sure, you will learn a lot of stuff. Also, when you join the program, you will learn a lot of stuff about mindset, about getting clarity, about having more energy, more focus. But the biggest thing is what you've been talking about, is that you talk with people who are 2-3 steps ahead of you, and then you see them, and not to be condescending, but then you think like, hey, but this is just a regular guy, right? He's just
Yeah,
like me.
exactly.
So if he can do it, I can do it as well. Whereas, and
Yeah.
I had that same belief, I think only 2 years ago or 3 years ago still, that I was really looking up to these people making a lot of money. And then I went to a dinner with some of these guys, and I was like, yeah, these guys are, some of them were living at home with their parents. Some of them
Yeah.
were like 18 years old and stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, like, hey, but if these guys can do it, I can do it as well. And that's the biggest thing, like the belief shifting, actually making you believe like, I can do it. I can get to 10K a month, 20K a month. I can get to 100K a month, because you see other people doing it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this real encouragement of helping people solve their problems, like within the group. And then so that itself just breeds positive energy, so that maybe the guys in there that are 1-2 steps ahead, they can then like concretize what they've been learning by teaching it to someone else, and then that other person solves the problem quicker. Their like whole journey elevates the people. It's just like yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah. I think we made some good promo for the group, but I just wanted to share for people
Yeah.
also, and that's what I said in the video as well. Like, you really don't have to join this community, but find a community for yourself, because you can learn, you can read all the books, you can get a one-on-one coach, you can do all of that stuff. But the moment you actually have that group of people next to you with the same ambition, same drive, that you can ask questions to, that's the thing that's actually going to change your life. Yeah, awesome, man. Let me see. One thing, there's 2 things I still want to ask you. The first thing is, so now, we finished the one-on-one coaching in October, but you're still in the program. Basically, before you said like, hey, I was just doing web design, I had a lack of clarity, I wanted to go to the next level, but I didn't really know how to. Where are you at right now? Like, what are the results, like concrete results you've gotten out of the coaching?
Yeah, so the one huge concrete result was clarity on what kind of business I want to build and how to build a high leverage service. And I'm building a CRO agency called Ground Control, and like that was kind of after 30 days we had aligned on like the idea to do this. And then 60 days after that I had closed more than $5,000 of monthly recurring revenue, like within our coaching, which to me is like it's just amazing. But now it's like now I'm almost thinking like in a completely different way about like how to scale an agency, how to like create a productized service that is just stellar, and something that brands will literally get in line to do. So it's been a real it's been a real shift, man. Like I have not been able to go 100% full time into it yet, as my web design projects come to a close. I'm kind of in this transitional phase now, but I am now going to, pretty much from the middle of this month, middle of December, I'll be going like full time into the CRO business. And yeah, dude, I feel very confident about it. I'm sure there will be ups and downs, but it's like I'm just so excited for this next phase, dude.
Yeah, amazing, man. And one thing I wanted to highlight here for people watching, they might think like, oh, is Stefan like a business coach? Because we were talking business a lot. And one thing I wanted to highlight here is like, sure, we talked about business, like it's a part of it, right? But I'm not like necessarily a business coach. But the thing that really changed it for you, what I see in you, is the mindset shift, is the change in your mindset. And that's like moving it back to the thing we were talking about first with the first principles. That is what changes the business and your mindset about business, your thoughts about business right now. But the thing that really creates that is clarity, is the knowing that you can reach it, all the manifesting stuff like that. That's actually what creates it. So it's not really about a new business strategy, a new business tactic. It's more about changing the way you think, act, and feel, and then everything changes. And of course, with that, I'm not saying that business strategy doesn't matter, right? Sure, I have a business coach as well. I think you're looking at a coach on further scaling someone that has skill in CRO agency as well. But
yeah, already working with them.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is like I think what we work on, maybe to reiterate it, is the foundation, right? From that foundation, everything else stems from. But if that foundation isn't right, sure, you can have that. That's more the point I'm trying to make. You can have that business coach, you can have that other coaches, but they're not going to be as effective as when you have those foundations right, you have your mindset right, you have your energy right, focus right, you actively do all the stuff you need to do. And that's basically it. Amazing. Last thing that I wanted to share, or that I want you to share, are there any other things that might be valuable to the people watching that we haven't discussed? Maybe a concept that has been valuable to you that you want to share? Because I want to keep this as value packed for the people watching. Is there like one thing that you still think like, hey, this is something we haven't touched on, but would be cool to give to the people?
Yeah, well, you do have you're quite a well-read individual when it comes to health and performance. And so one of the byproducts that just kind of happens, like when you're part of this community, is that you get a lot of your health things waxed. So in terms of understanding how to think about sleep, how to think about your diet, how to think about resting, so that you're not just grinding all the time. Like I was so guilty of this. But like one of the things that I do religiously now is like I take time off and enjoy myself and rest, and like let the ideas of how to improve my business come to me, instead of like trying to hold like white knuckle death grip onto some outcomes that I want. So that may sound a little bit esoteric, but it's like I'm starting to achieve great results in my business, and it's only going to get better. And I'm like more rested like while I do it, which is awesome.
Yeah, and maybe to go deeper into that, for the people watching, you might not be into spirituality as their things, but just remember, when was the last time you've gotten like great results? Think about that time. And usually that time was when you were in flow, when things were just happening for you, like magically, sort of like the universe was conspiring for you to make all of these things happen. And I've had it happen so many times in my life because of the things we teach here. And even if you don't believe in all that, in spirituality and all of that stuff, the biggest thing is to just get into flow, take that time off also to get there. And I think that's the main thing. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to say? Otherwise, we can end the interview here. I'm also linking, I think, your Facebook down below. So if you have any questions for Joel, or if you are a Shopify brand owner and you want to start working with Joel, you can send him a message as well. Anything last things to wrap this up?
Well, I'll just I've said this to you privately, but I'll say it publicly. I think that the coaching investment was the best money I've ever spent, hands down. And I'm very, very grateful that you just got in touch and we just started that interaction. And then if whoever's watching gets into the program, I'll see you on the inside.
Yeah, amazing, man. Thanks for those kind words. It was also a pleasure working with you and still working with you. That's basically it for the interview. If you have any other questions about something we discussed, or you'd like to know more about the program, just send me a message on IG or Facebook, or book a call below, and then we can talk more about what we actually do. For now, I really want to thank Joel for doing this interview, and that's basically it. Have a great time, and that was the interview.